Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It is August. Nope, just kidding. It's April. April 9th. April 9th, 2025. So we have got a lot going on all around us. Lots going on in every one of our markets. You know, what is a market? What is the real estate market? There is no market. Everything is very hyper local. You can have one side of a street selling a certain way, the other side of a street selling something different. No rhyme or reason for some of these properties selling for the way they do and others sitting for the way that they are. Sometimes that's the way it seems, but that's what the buyers are doing. So we have to be better at our marketing, our presentations, and everything that we're doing on the listing side. We've had some changes with Zillow Showcase. Zillow Showcase has changed the way that they present their properties, changed the way we log in, changed the way we get our tokens, and the way the photographers and the pictures come and go. So there is a new system. Jimmy's got some videos out for that. He's going to go through some more of that today just because we're getting a lot of questions on it. So if you have a Zillow Showcase, Jimmy's going to go through some of that today. And then with the time left, we're going to talk about the market. We're going to talk about expireds, new listings, buyers, mortgage rates. We're going to talk about all those things, get some different perspectives. So, Mr. McNally, what's going on?
Come on down. You're the next contestant on Zillow Showcase.
Yeah,
I don't
you're
know
the
if that's
next
a thing or
contestant
not.
on Price Your Property Properly.
Right. So hopefully everybody understands the benefit of and what we've done as a brokerage to be able to bring this tool with Zillow Showcase to you. I mean, we are paying for 600 tokens up front, and it is a way for your listings to show up much better, give you some better analytics. And there's a ton of information in our listing presentation for sellers, and there's tons of trainings out there on the Zillow Showcase side. Now, again, but what I really wanted to spend time today is kind of just walking through the process so we understand. A couple weeks ago, the Zillow Showcase application changed, okay? And it allows you to do some things a little differently. It looks different. You're able to add your MLS to your MLS number specifically to the Showcase and get Zillow data on your listings, which is pretty fantastic, along with some of the extra marketing that they do to their database on the Zillow side. So it's just some great information that you can have if you're using the Zillow Showcase. What we have been running into are a few different hiccups with the new system and how actually the process works. So today is all about, I want to take probably about 10 minutes just to kind of walk through the process. If you have a listing and you want to add a Zillow Showcase token to that property so it shows up better on Zillow, that's what I'm going to walk you through today, from getting the token set up all the way to adding a photographer if it's going to be through Zillow or if it's going to be your own. And then I probably won't go through too much of the playing around with the carousel and stuff afterwards, okay? Did you have anything you want to say on that standpoint?
Just to be clear, the question came online. If you currently have a Zillow Showcase that is active, it's being actively marketed, it's already set
Yes,
up,
thank
already
you.
have photos, do you have to do anything?
No.
So this is not for your current active Zillow Showcase that you've already selected photos for. The photos and media is already there. You don't have to do any of that. This is going to be for any new orders or current orders that have not gone live for marketing.
So that, and I will tell you and honestly, if you have a showcase and you haven't gone in to validate that your showcase is live, this could be for you also, because I'm seeing a little hiccup with some of those steps with the new system. So, and I'm going to preface it like this. You get a new listing, Chris, and you get the email saying you're live.
Yep.
What do? Do you check anything when you do that? Do you make sure?
Yeah, so the first thing I do when I get your listing is now live is I'm going to send basically a pre-prompted message to my seller that, hey, your listing is live. You got a notice from my office. I'm going to go to all of the sites and verify. First, I'm going to go to MLS because that's what feeds everything. I'm going to verify all the info I gave my team was uploaded correctly. I would like for you to do the same thing because I'm going to send you a copy of your listing in MLS, and I'd like you to review it, make sure you're satisfied with everything. Let me know if anything needs changed. First step. Second step, I let them know that your listing will start to feed over to all of the other sites within 1 to 2 business days. So if you don't see it on Realtor, Zillow, Trulia, within 24 to 48 hours, let me know. And I'll also be looking at that to make sure it fed over properly. So that's typically what I do because I want to go verify everything's right. Now with Zillow Showcase, because I have I'm using Zillow Showcase on my listings, basically we have an extra step, right?
There's an extra step. So, I
Okay.
mean, just like you would go everywhere else and check to make sure that it's active correctly, it's on the sites and things like that, you still want to do that on a showcase level, going into it and double checking to make sure that everything's correct. You're
Does
gonna,
it have to be live before we get, does your listing have to be live in MLS for me to go upload everything into
no,
Showcase?
not to get it uploaded from your photographer, but
Okay.
for it to adjust, let's say, the carousel or adjust the rooms and stuff like that that we usually recommend. It has
Okay.
to be live to be able to do that. But
So
prior to that, you
So
can do it everything
basically, I can
before.
have a listing go live. I can have my showcase. I know you're going to show us some of this. I can have my showcase ready to go. As soon as my listing goes live, I really only have to go into showcase and now play with the photos and carousel and make sure everything looks good.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So basically your steps are the same. There's just going to be a few different changes and a few
Yeah.
things that have changed with the way the application that Zillow is using has changed.
All right. So what I'm going to do real quick, let's go ahead and share. And first thing I'll do for those that do not have one, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through this first, everybody, and then I'll answer questions.
Cool.
Okay. I want to go through the steps of all this. First off, though, this is actually what the showcase looks like. Okay. This is not just your typical, a handful of photos that are sitting here. It's a carousel that you can choose up to 5 photos to go on here. And it doesn't matter what they are. The 5 best photos, the 5 best value, whatever brings the best benefits of that property should actually go on here. And you're going to notice with this one, Kalani is all over this. Okay. So if you're debating on should I do this or not, I would recommend it. And Kalani would too, because she actually got a lead that turned into like 2 sales that were over $1 million each because she had this and they contacted her directly in here. So one of the differences here is the way that it looks. And then also it will break down room counts for you. You can still see every single photo that is on here, but this just breaks it down by room and also what section of the floor plan and everything is to really help identify kind of how that floor plan and everything looks.
It does what the name of the product says. It showcases the featured rooms that you think are the selling points. It allows you to showcase on your carousel what the selling points are of the home with those photos. Yep. And then lower, it allows you to showcase what featured rooms and photos best depict what this home is that's going to create the best marketing for us.
Yep. Okay, so let's get into this real quick. First of all, where can I find all the information on Zillow Showcase? So Chris, you get a listing, you go on a listing appointment and you have a listing that's coming up. You got a signed agreement. Maybe you know it's going to go on the market in a couple weeks, whatever it is. Just like you go through and do that and do all the paperwork, you're probably going to schedule your photographer, right? And kind of work through that if you're using a personal photographer. Mm-hmm. If you're going to do a Zillow Showcase, the first step you want to do is when you do the contract on the listing deal sheet, there's an option to do I want to use Zillow Showcase? Okay. And there's 2 options I'm going to walk you through in a second of how you can actually pay for this. If you pay up front, we are giving you a discount and it's $400 no matter what the price of the property is.
And the reason for that is we have already paid for 600 of them at $400 a piece, yes, which is a lot of money.
Yes.
Right? It's a lot of money. It's what,
$240,000 we spend as a brokerage.
And then we swiped the card and paid for it. So these are already paid for and we're giving you the same rate. If you pay right up front, we're going to give you the same rate that we've already paid for them.
If you have a pay to close option also, but that is going to be at the prevailing rate of what Zillow is charging. It's so for instance,
what everybody else has to pay for a Zillow Showcase in your market is what you would have to pay for that.
And if you think about it, a property that's over $1 million, give me a raise of hands of anybody that has anything like $900,000 or up with a listing right now. I know we have a lot of those.
Yep.
Right. That would be $1,000 you would have to pay for that showcase by itself.
Yeah.
Or in this case, if you do paid at closing, that's what you'll have to pay.
And on top of that, you would have to be a Zillow Premier agent paying for zip codes.
Yes.
And they guarantee you at least 4 leads per zip at $500 a piece. So you'd have to pay $2,000 a month to be a Premier agent. And then you would have to pay $1,000 on top of that for the showcase and or pay for it up front at a little bit of a discount rate, which would be $700 or $800 per token.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you when you go to the next level this is where all of our training information is. And you can go down here to Mr. Beggins on the bottom right and say Zillow Showcase, or if you hit the little hamburger menu, this is the link here where it says Zillow Showcase. This is what I send everybody that says, hey, I need to pay for my my token. I need to know the steps and everything. Now this will update with a couple new videos and stuff that are coming out. It'll be probably by next week. We'll have this updated with some newer videos. But the idea is once you check that off and say, yes, I want to use a Zillow showcase, now it is time to
On
go
the deal sheet?
on the deal sheet.
Okay.
Okay. So you're going to put that in there. And then you also want to go and pay for the showcase token. Okay. Even if you're doing paid at close option, you're going to have to pay $1. That's how our system works. You're going to pay $1, or if you pay up front, it's $400. You're going to get that, pay for it here, and then you're going to upload that receipt into your loop, the listing loop in .loop. Okay. Once that happens, our back office team will see that there's a Zillow showcase in there, and they will go set up your property. Go ahead.
How do they see that there's a Zillow showcase receipt in there?
Oh, and you have to submit. Okay. So once you add your Zillow showcase receipt, you do not send it directly to like Chris Adams or Jasmine or anyone like that. You put it back in the loop, submit it. Okay. If you want to do it the right way, before you submit all the listing paperwork and that, go and pay for it and have it done and ready to go. Okay. Submit that in there, and then they will go and start the Zillow showcase for you, and you don't have to do anything. You do not have to go in and put a listing in and do all that kind of stuff. We will do that for you. Okay. And you will get a message that says, hey, log into this, go in, and you can add your photographer, which I'm going to walk through in just a second. Okay. So again, let's walk through just this website really quick. All the steps that I talked to you are pretty much right here. Okay. There's even a video with the initial setup. I'm going to update some of these for you, so it's going to look a little bit differently, but this is the order and this is what you need to do. Okay. It's right here on this website for you if you're not sure. So a question the last few weeks. Yes, you have to pay for it up front. And yes, you should do it before you start adding a photographer to anything, okay? If you're adding a photographer and you have not gotten information saying that your showcase is set up, you are not ready to add photography, okay? All right, so as we go down a little bit further, you could say, hey, I'm ready to order. So when you go to ready to order, it's going to bring you down here to this page, and you have both options. I'm going to pay up front for $400, or here you go. This is pricing, okay? So which one are you going to do? Oh, Jimmy, I'm going to pay up front. So when you click this, you're going to come here, and it's just like using any other web portal. You're going to come down, you want to add it to the cart, and then you want to go to your cart and actually pay for it. Okay. So I'm going to add the cart. Here's my cart.
View cart.
Oh, duh. Okay. It's going to come up here. Now under here, you do have a little note. Please put the listing address here. This is a way that we can track the receipt to show what address this is actually going to. When you go to checkout, you will have to log in. If you're not logged into the portal and you're just on this page, you do have to log in, and then they will send you a receipt and you're done. Once you get that receipt, you put it into .loop, submit it, and then they will start the loop for you. Now, let's go into what these loops what the Zillow showcase is. So now once they have gone in and I have set up, or Chris or whoever it is has set up your token, which is again a Zillow showcase token for your property, you're going to get an email that says, hey, go to this website, which is app.showingtimeplus.com. Side note, I don't want to check out. It should be in here too. If you're not sure where to go, it's right here. Tells you what website you need to go to, and you're going to log in. Now, when you log in, you should see your property in there. Okay, once you see the property that you have, and I'm going to use Vicky's for an example here, okay? Once you go here, on the right-hand side, you're going to see two people at least. You're going to see the agent who has the listing. You're going to see who the collaborator is. That means it's whoever put that token in. Okay, so it's going to either be Craig, it could be Sam, it might be Chris Adams, it could be me. That's how you know you have a showcase. And if you look right here, I'm going to zoom in for everybody. It says stand out on Zillow with your showcase. Okay, so this one is ready to kind of do the next steps. Now you may see a seller's information in there, which will be on the right-hand side. And you may see, if you've gone through this process, who your photographer actually was too. So these are all the people that are part of this here. All right, so now what you're going to do, so in this case, Vicky, you have your photography. Let's see if Vicky is on real quick. All right, Vicky, you're on. Thank you. Vicky, real quick, are we good Vicky, are we good with that photographer that you were talking to? If you can chat in for me and let me know, Miss Vicky Beggins. You can let me know if we're good with that photographer so I can add them to this. Okay, so once you have your showcase set up and you're ready now to either order photography, let's say you do not have a photographer and you need to get one, or if you have a photographer that is Zillow-certified, this is how you are actually going to send them a link so they can upload all the photos to this, okay? So there's a couple places that you can do it, but here, let's just start. We're going to click Get Media. All right, so what it's going to do is it's going to come in for the area that your property is located. It's going to show you some options first all over the place of all of these different photography companies that are Zillow certified. You can click on view profile, all that kind of stuff, see if you want to book with them. If I decide to book with one of these, let's say Zillow Media Experts, I have some agents that do that. All right, so Vicky, I will not completely set this up. You need to call him and make sure that everything's set before I do it because I don't want to screw everything up. Okay, so what we'll do is, so you can either click one of these, book through, you actually can pick the time, the date, all that kind of stuff. It's pretty nice. You don't have to send a text message to say any of that stuff. Or I want to invite my own photographer. So in this case, I'm going to use the one that I think is going to work. Can't type. Man, and I'm going to actually really not be able to type, I guess. In this case, if you're using, let's say, like Shannon Core, you would put like Shannon Core Photography. You put their email in. All right, I'm not going to go and put in actually a name, and I'm going to hit submit. And this is what happens. If they are a certified Zillow photographer, you're going to see them right here. So you can see that this is the one that I believe Vicky's going to end up using it, but I'm not going to do it yet. And what you would do is you would click send a media request. So for your personal photographer, the Zillow certified, you're going to click send media request. They're going to get a link and they are going to upload all the photos, all the 3D tours, all that kind of stuff into the showcase for you. Okay, that's it. They're going to do all that stuff for you. If you're gonna hire one, you're gonna go through the process. I'm not gonna go through the process of actually finding one, and it's scheduling. Scheduling 101. Pick a date, time, area, person, all that kind of stuff. Once that is done and they have uploaded the media into it, you will receive an email saying that your showcase is ready to view. And then you would go back in and we would do a couple other little steps. So let's see, I'll use this one. This is Amy's. So as you can see here, it says review showcase. This property is going live today, I believe, Amy. Let's see, is Amy on here? No, she's not. I think this one is going live, but this will give you an idea. As once you receive the photos, you come here, you can review the showcase. I can link an MLS so I can see the reporting. This is where I would go and edit the carousel. So this one she hasn't set up all the way yet because there's only 3 pictures. You could put 5 and you can do all of those things. Okay. Now, if you have a listing that you thought was a showcase, this is what it's going to look like. And I'm going to use Margaret real quick. We are working on getting this switched over for you, Margaret. So you just give us time on it. As you look at Margaret's here, you're going to see on the right-hand side that her team, it's just her. Okay. Unfortunately, this system will allow you to go directly in and put a listing in for pictures. Okay. But if you are doing a showcase, you have to do it prior to going in here and setting anything up. Okay. So in this case, Margaret went ahead and got her photographer tied to this and did everything that she needed to. But the showcase token was never tied to this because we missed the step of submitting the receipt into .loop right away and waiting for that token to be set up by our back office. Okay. So if you're going to use Showcase, wait until you get communication saying that is set up for you before you go in this process and do anything. If not, we have a couple little hiccups. Okay. So that's all I wanted to talk about real quick. Let's see what we have here. Let's see. I have a Showcase listing. I'm going to start from the top here. Okay, so Sarah, again, check yours to see if it's good. Mike Johnson, I had a showcase listing that expired. I'm relisting it in about a week, maybe 2, with the original token. Send me an email, Mike Johnson, please, on kind of the address, and we'll look at some of the timing. But if it expires or if it cancels or anything like that, honestly, if your listing goes live on a showcase for more than 2 days, I'm not able to get that token back from Zillow. But if you go pending right away, like within 2 days, I can usually get that back, and then we can reissue that to you on another one, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But if it's going through the entire process, it's expired and that kind of stuff, I'm going to probably say no. You're going to end up having to get a new one. But send me the address, and I will reach out to see what's going on. I'm afraid to click that mic, that link, Mike. I don't know what you sent me. I told my photographer they stopped doing Zillow-certified photographers. He wrote to them and they confirmed. I Googled it and it was confirmed online too. As long as they have a 360. Okay. As long as they have a 360, they have to go through a process to be able to get in and do this for you. Originally, they had another way to do it. So if you go back to my email that I sent probably 3 weeks ago, there's a specific link that the photographer has to sign up through to be able to do it. Okay. They don't just let anybody do it. They have to have certain things, certain cameras and all that kind of stuff there. So they have to go in and be hooked up with this app that they use to upload photos. If they do not, they will not have access to be able to upload anything anymore because they changed the system. They use something called Aereo, which is an app they use to upload the photos into Zillow Showcase. It's nothing like it was before. So if you're thinking about doing a Zillow Showcase, just like we prepare afterwards and we look at everything, you probably want to reach out to your photographer and ask them if they went ahead and set up their account with Aereo so they can get everything uploaded. And again, go back to my email from a few weeks ago. I think I forwarded it out a couple times. And it actually has the specifics for the photographer and what they need to click on and how they need to set up their stuff. So that way you don't have, because the reason I'm doing this today is I want to make sure that you guys are doing everything right. So you show up on point. I don't want you stressed out because it's not working correctly or it's not showing up correctly. I get there's hiccups here and there, but if we're not following the process, you're doing yourself and your seller a disservice. I don't want to do a disservice to our sellers. I don't want them upset if they know that this is coming and we set it up incorrectly. Just like with your photographer, the last thing you want to do is be like, hey, I'm doing a Zillow Showcase. We're going live in 2 days. Take the pictures, and they're not set up yet. Well, that is, to me, like, that's just going to kind of hold up everything to get it live on Showcase. And we want to show up on day one as well as we can and the best that we can.
I saw the list of addresses, and I know there's a few of those that are active for more than a week or two, and that still says media pending or pending, which means we didn't go in and do a few extra steps to make sure it shows up as a showcase online on Zillow. So you do have to take a few extra steps, but it's well worth it.
And then there is also an option up here that you can come in, and once you know it's live and you've set everything, click it, change it over to active listing, and you're good to go too. So if we use Showcase with the token from Beggins, we still have to pay some money. The Showcase token costs $400 up front, or pricing anywhere between $400 and $1,000 paid at closing.
So you have to pay for your Zillow Showcase token, and then you have to also still pay for the media.
Photography, yeah, it does not include photography.
Yeah,
so this is just a marketing piece. You're still paying for your photography.
Lauren asked, do we still contact Susie for a token?
You do not. No. If you need a token, Lauren, you're going to go to the next level and go to Zillow, and you're going to come down here and click I'm ready to order, pay for it, and then submit it in your loop.
Submit it with your listing paperwork, pay for the token before you submit it, put the receipt in your listing loop, and submit all of it for review. They will process everything.
Yep. And I'll stop there because I know we wanted to talk about a few other things.
No worries. I mean, that's good information just because a lot of it has changed. There's a lot of little things that change the process. What we're seeing is some people going directly to Zillow Showcase and trying to order it themselves. Don't do that. Do it through the next level. Make sure that we have that receipt. We will set it up for you. If you find yourself setting up your address and inputting your address into Zillow's app, do not do that. Do not set anything up yourself in the app.showingtime.com or Zillow app to put your address in.
Correct.
If you have to do that, you did it incorrectly. Go to the next level. You order the token, give us everything with your listing paperwork, and we'll take care of it.
The only time you would do that is if you're just going to use their services for photography.
That's it.
Okay, so there are some that just use them for photography, and that's fine. You don't have to follow these, but if you're using a token, do not go in and do it. Now, this is the last thing with them too. So Zillow owns what? They own Showing Time. They own .loop, obviously Zillow. So they're trying to integrate everything together. In your loop, there's even a button that if you start syncing it up that says Showing Time Plus that will take you directly to your showcase if it's there. So we see these things, we're like, oh, awesome, and clicking it and doing it. No, do not do it until you have communication.
Yes.
You should not be putting your address in to Zillow Showcase for a token. You should not. You will not be doing that.
Cool.
And that's all I gotta say about that.
That's all I got to say. Hit share, go to the, go to the screen, go to that one.
No, that's not
So a
here.
couple things we'll just chat about, give you some stats of what's happened in the last 7 days and what's going on with, homeowners out there. So in the last 7 days in Stellar MLS, so Stellar is the largest MLS provider in the state of Florida. So Stellar MLS, in the last 7 days, there's been 12,308 new listings in all of Stellar MLS. That is a huge amount of listings. So anybody out there saying that people aren't listing their homes because they're not selling and, we're just not seeing all that happen. 12,000 new listings in the last 7 days. And less than 2% of all listings are showcase. So we have the ability to showcase all of our listings that our company puts out there. If less than 2% of all the other listings are showcase listings, and we have the ability to stand out better than 98% of all of the other listings in our market. That's something we should actually be taking advantage of. So 12,308 new listings in the last 7 days in all of Stellar MLS. And how many went under contract? How many of you I've heard you say, well, homes just aren't selling, my buyers aren't buying, the listings aren't going under contract. 8,538 listings went under contract in the last 7 days. 12,000 came on the market. 8,500 of those went under contract in the last 7 days. Quite a lot of sales. How many sold and closed? 5,651 sold and closed in 7 days. But we've also seen over 14,000 price decreases. Okay? 14,000 price decreases. If you don't want to do what everybody else is doing, when your property comes on the market, price it properly. Stop pricing it high to leave room for negotiation because you're going to end up having no negotiation. Make sure you price it correctly. Expired listings, 1,300 expired listings in 7 days, 1,600 canceled listings in the last 7 days, and 914 withdrawn listings in the last 7 days. That's 4,000 listings came off the market by expiring, canceled, or withdrawn in the last 7 days. 4,000. And we've seen the statistics that you have a 40% higher likelihood of selling when you list with a new agent. And when I've looked at expired listings that have come off the market and see if they've been relisted, of a certain amount that had expired, a certain amount had relisted, and nearly all of them relisted with a new brokerage. Nearly all of them. So the expired listings are looking for new opportunities. They're looking for new marketing. They're looking to make sure that their property sells. They're looking for someone to tell them the truth. So make sure that we're doing that. Another cool stat that we saw out there, of all the mortgages that are out there, 33% of them have rates between 3 and 4%. Guess how many mortgages have a rate below 3%? 21% of all mortgages out there are below 3%. 33% are between 3 and 4%. So that means that over 50% of all mortgages have a rate below 4%. Okay, that's why you do see some sellers that were stalling for quite a while, but they're tired of waiting. And right now, we've seen people getting rates in the 4.5, 4.99 with rate buy downs. We're still seeing some of that. So those sellers who are holding on to these rates, they're just saying that, hey, I think I need to make a decision and move now. 18% of all mortgages between 4 and 5%, 10% between 5 and 6, and less than 20% are 6% or higher. So less than 20% of all mortgages have a rate of 6% or higher. And there is a lot of investment loans, a lot of other opportunities people got into. But here's a really cool stat. 40% of potential buyers said they would be an active buyer if rates were under 6%. So nearly half of all of the potential buyers that are out there said that if rates were under 6%, they would become an active buyer. We just need to start being more active with our narrative, with what we're telling people and what we're saying, and we need to start shouting out from the rooftop what we are seeing buyers buying homes with rates at. I closed on a home with a 5.625 interest rate just over a month ago. We see builders advertising 4.9%, 5.9%, 5.5%. We're seeing people buying homes with rate buydowns getting into the fives. So about half of all of your buyers that are potential buyers that are sitting on the sideline waiting, half of them said they would be active if the rates were below 6, and we have rates below 6. So every single one of the people in your pipeline deserves a phone call today. I just sent out some information to our team over here. There's Hillsborough County has a $30,000 down payment assistance program that they're providing to home buyers. And guess what the rate is? Last year when they did it, the rate was 6.56 or 6.6. Guess what the rate is now? 1% lower, 5.6. You can, if you have a 640 credit score or higher, you can get a 5.6% interest rate and get $30,000 from the local county here to buy a home. That's unbelievable, unreal. So yes, you can get 30 grand, and yes, the rate will be below 6%. Half of these buyers became active with just that one simple stat. We need to let buyers know what interest rates are, let them know what they can get, show them the incentives that builders are offering, and get more buyers active. We have a ton of listings. We are blowing listings out of the water. We have 20 to 30% more listings than we had last year at the same time, but we have 20 to 30% less buyers because the buyers don't know what's actually going on. They don't know what they can actually get in this market. They need to hear from you. Every single one of you needs to pick up your phone, call every buyer in your pipeline, post a video about the down payment assistance grants that you can get rates into the fives, get your down payment and closing costs covered, and buy a home with little to no money out of pocket, way cheaper than renting. Builders are offering incentives and rates in the 4s and 5%. If you are sitting on the sidelines, now's the time to do it. When people are fearful, be greedy. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market, and we need to get more active. We need to create some certainty because that 5.5% interest rate we can get some of our buyers is a hell of a lot better than the $2,800 a month they're paying in rent. They can get a fixed interest rate, get into that home, and be in a much better position. 9:32, it is Tuesday, April 9th. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you got some good info on your showcase on how to use those. If you have a listing and it's not showcased, take an opportunity right now. There's way more listings out there on the market that you're competing with, so we need to stand out better. Let's make sure we are standing out better by using the tools that we have. Spend a few extra bucks to make sure that your seller has that best opportunity. Happy Tuesday. Have a wonderful day, guys. Thank you so much. If you're in the local area, there is going to be breakfast in this room tomorrow. If you're in the local area, Apollo Beach, breakfast in the room tomorrow. Thursday is going to be a live training at 9 a.m. with Paramount Title, and they have a mortgage provider. He's bringing breakfast. So please show up to the Apollo Beach training room tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and have some breakfast. It is Wednesday, April 9th. Happy Wednesday.